Ugh, the client this time had really strong preferences. Yeah, we've got to step up our game too. I'm Issei Tsuzaki, 30 years old. I work as a designer at a housing construction company called Oroka House. He's Kanata Maruyama, my colleague in sales. He comes from a wealthy family and was raised in a good environment. Since we joined the company, we've gotten along pretty well. But there's one thing that concerns me. That is...
Welcome back, Suzaki-san, Maruyama-san.
This woman, Megumi Oikawa, recently transferred to her design department. I'm not a fan of her deliberate attempts to act cute, but Maruyama seems completely hooked. Isn't she adorable? Megu. Huh, I really think you should reconsider. But Maruyama didn't listen to a word I said, and just kept falling deeper for her. I often see Oikawa getting all the attention from the male employees. Rumor has it she goes out to dinner with different guys and gets expensive gifts from them.
Wow, sushi tonight! I'd love to go, so excited!
Huh? Are you working late again, Higashiyama? This is Akane Higashiyama, an assistant in the design department.
Oikawa-san said she wasn't feeling well, so I'm covering for her.
Not feeling well? I just saw her happily heading out for dinner. She gave me an awkward smile and went back to her work without answering my suspicions.
I really wasn't feeling well yesterday, but I started to feel better when I was about to head home.
The next day, when I asked Oikawa about it, she started crying and shaking as she spoke. If you weren't well, you should have either finished the work yourself or taken the day off. Why'd you go out for dinner? Come on, Tsuzaki! Let it go already! She was just trying to fit in at work!
Maruyama-san, it's okay. I shouldn't have done something that would cause a misunderstanding.
She ran out of the office after saying that. A few weeks later, Maruyama told me he had started dating Oikawa. I'll tell you straight, she's not good for you. I warned him about how she flirts with men and pushes her work onto others, but... Why are you talking so badly about her? Maruyama didn't believe me at all and just got mad. 2 weeks later, disaster struck. Oikawa messed up an order, and the construction site contacted us about missing materials. Oikawa, how did this happen?
I thought I double-checked everything.
Tsuzaki, what's going on with the order checking system? We have a policy where 2 people always check orders. This time too, I told her we should check together, but she said she had already checked with another employee.
Manager, Suzaki-san is lying. I asked him to check and he ignored me. So I had no choice but to do it alone. And he's always been bullying me when no one else is around.
From there, it was Oikawa's show. She fabricated stories about me harassing her and sabotaging her work. That's a complete lie! Oikawa-san, stop this nonsense! No, you stop, Tsuzaki! Bullying a young woman like that! You're the worst! You've been bad-mouthing her all along! I'm disgusted with you! This is ridiculous! I won't let that pathological liar ruin me! But despite my determination, I eventually became isolated at work. I, feeling like something snapped inside me, resigned from Oroka House 1 month later.
Suzaki-san, I heard you managed to resign instead of getting fired.
Well, they couldn't fire me for cause. I'm innocent.
You're just a boring man. It's your fault for trying to tear me and Kanata apart. A rich guy like him doesn't need a meddlesome friend like you. Bye-bye, pesky little bug.
After quitting, I found a new job as a designer at another construction company. I was worried that the same thing might happen again at my new workplace. But the people here were all warm and welcoming, and my guarded heart gradually softened.
Suzaki-san, I finished compiling the necessary documents.
Especially her, Natsumi Fujikawa, always bright and positive. She lifts the mood of everyone around her. Her attention to detail and the support she provides are invaluable. I'm really grateful for her.
Suzaki-kun, the client complimented you on how attentively you listen to their needs.
And you always give clear, precise instructions. We're lucky to have you after you left Oroka House.
Thank you. I'm also very grateful to everyone here for supporting me. I heard Higashiyama-san left Oroka House soon after I did. Talking with Fujikawa reminded me of my former colleague, the design assistant. It's a small industry, so maybe we'll meet again somewhere. An exterior exhibition, you say?
Yes, it's being held next week, and I'd love for you to attend, Suzaki-kun.
A few months into my job, my manager made the suggestion. By the way, exterior refers to outdoor structures like gates, decks, and terraces.
It's important to familiarize yourself with various designers for your work, don't you think?
You're right. I'll be happy to go. The following week, I visited the exterior exhibition. As I walked around, taking pictures, I noticed a phone lying on the floor. I'd better take this to the information desk. As I arrived at the information desk, a man rushed in, looking frantic. Excuse me, has anyone turned in a phone here? Could this be yours? Takachi grabs my hands and shakes them vigorously in thanks. That's my phone! Did you bring it here for me? Thank you so much! His name was Ryo Takachi, and he told me he worked in sales at an exterior company called X Forest. X Forest? Wasn't that a client of my previous company? Though I never worked directly with them. So, Tsuzaki-san, you're a designer? Wait, isn't your company where my girlfriend's sister works? What? It turns out Takachi's girlfriend is the older sister of Fujikawa. What a small world. This must be fate. If you don't mind, how about I show you around the exhibition? If it's no trouble, I would appreciate it. I started wondering if his cheerful energy was part of a sales tactic. Despite my doubts, I found myself following Takachi around the venue. In the end, not only did he explain X-Force products, but he also helped out at other booths. His sincerity won me over, and I felt guilty for ever doubting him. I started to like the guy. After the exhibition, Takachi invited me to his favorite yakitori restaurant. We hit it off so well that our conversations flowed effortlessly, and we soon dropped formalities. Man, I never thought I would make such a good friend at this age. I'm really happy. Yeah, I'm glad we met today at the exhibition. From that point on, we exchanged contact info and started meeting up regularly. Meanwhile, back at Oroka House. Oikawa, how did this mistake happen?
Well, I was following instructions from my supervisor. Manager, I never gave her those instructions.
Once again, you're blaming your junior for your own mistakes? Are you jealous of her cuteness?
The manager's been under my thumb since that pesky bug left. No point arguing with him. Men are so easy to manipulate if you use a sweet voice. The world's such a breeze.
With Oikawa doing whatever she pleased, the competent employees began quitting, and the company's performance worsened. A few months after meeting Ryo Takachi, not only did our friendship deepen on a personal level, but we also started working together more often. X-Forest and our company formed a business partnership, and discussing exterior designs with Takachi significantly expanded my work. By the way, I heard Takachi and Sanae-san finally got engaged. Congrats!
Thanks. My sister and Ryo are all lovey-dovey, and honestly, it's a little embarrassing.
Sanae is Fujikawa's older sister, who works as a design professional. When I met her, I thought her calm, warm personality really suited Takachi. Are you going to feel lonely once your sister leaves home? I've heard the Fujikawa sisters lost their parents in an accident 10 years ago.
Yeah, I'd be lying if I said I wouldn't feel lonely. Ever since our parents died, we've relied on each other for everything. I wonder if I'll be able to stand on my own once she's gone. But don't tell anyone, okay? It's kind of embarrassing.
She forced a smile, and I found myself speaking up. I've always felt supported by your bright and cheerful energy since I joined this company, Natsumi-san. I came here with some baggage from my last job and wasn't sure if I could adjust. But thanks to you and everyone else, that fear went away. So let me return the favor. I want you to know you're not alone.
Thank you, Suzaki-san. I guess I'll let myself rely on you a little then.
She smiled bashfully, but it was a genuine smile this time, and I let out a quiet sigh of relief.
Hey, Suzaki-san, can you call me by my first name too?
Huh?
It's not fair that only my sister gets to be called Sanai-san.
Oh, is that so? Well, Natsumi-san. A few months later, I received Takachi's wedding invitation. Without hesitation, I marked down my attendance. Seeing the wedding date, I realized it had almost been a year since I left Oroka House. Then, I got a call from Takachi. Hello? What's up, Takachi? Did you get the invitation yet? After the reception, we are planning a little event and... As I listened to Takachi's excited voice, my eyes widened in surprise. On the wedding day, Takachi and Sanai's ceremony was held at a high-end hotel chapel. After the ceremony, we were moving to the reception hall when a grating voice echoed.
Oh, still alive, are we? What are you doing here, you pesky little bug?
I looked in the direction of the voice and saw Megumi Oikawa from Oroka House standing there. I wasn't surprised. Takachi had already warned me she would be attending. But the event wasn't supposed to happen until after the reception. Just as I was about to quietly walk away... Megu, what's wrong? As soon as Maruyama saw me, his face twisted in anger. Suzaki, why are you here?
Kanata-san! I think he's here to get revenge on me. I'm so scared.
It's almost pathetic how Maruyama still believes every ridiculous word she says.
Suzaki-san, what's going on?
Actually... You're part of the bride's family, aren't you? We need to get this man out of here. Call the staff! Honestly, when the staff told me there was trouble between guests, I had to come over myself. Maruyama-san, why are you trying to kick out one of my closest friends? Close friend? Wait, what? Yes, Tsusaki Issei here is one of my best friends and a guest at today's wedding. What? Takachi-san, you don't know what kind of man this is. We're getting nowhere like this. We were going to do this after the reception, but let's take this to the back. Takachi led us to a waiting room reserved for the reception. Sanae was already there, and Takachi whispered the situation to her. Maruyama and Oikawa, confused at first, quickly changed their expressions when the next guests arrived.
What? The manager? And Akane?
Yes, this is Akane Higashiyama, a guest of mine. She's a colleague at my current workplace.
After leaving Oroka House, Higashiyama had joined the same architectural firm where Sanae worked. I thought the world was small when I met Takachi, but this was further proof of it. And this gentleman here is also a guest of the Takachi family. Since we've had a long-standing business relationship with Oroka House, I invited key employees from your company.
Wait a second. I know X Forest is one of our clients, but why is the manager here?
Come on, Megumi! I've explained this several times on the way here!
You know Takachi-san works at X Forest, right? But why would the manager be invited to a wedding for just an employee? Well, we were invited as the Maruyama family, weren't we? I heard our fathers are close friends.
You fool! He's not just any employee. He's Ryo Takachi, the son of X-Force CEO and the next president.
What?
Realizing the gravity of the situation, even the male manager, who usually favored Oikawa, raised his voice. Now, to get straight to the point, since we're short on time before the reception, after conducting a thorough investigation into Oroka House, our company has decided we cannot continue our partnership. We'll send the official notice later.
What?
This is the event Takachi had mentioned, the Confrontation. I heard about what happened at Oroka House from Natsumi-chan. It was a few months ago when Takachi called me, asking if I wanted to help teach Oroka House a lesson. Apparently, Natsumi had shared what I had told her with him and Sanae, and Takachi began looking into the matter through his business connections. So, I thought I'd give them a little wake-up call. Wanna join in? I'm sure you've got things you want to say too, right? That was how I learned about Takachi's plan to gather Oikawa, Maruyama, and the manager at his wedding. It was also when I found out about Akane's involvement and how she wanted to participate in this event. As for Oikawa, once she learned she had a seat as Maruyama's guest, she eagerly agreed to attend. But why? I think Akane-san can explain that. Akane stares directly at the male manager and begins to speak.
Oikawa despised Suzaki-san from the start, simply because he wouldn't fall for her charms. That day, Suzaki-san was at a client meeting, and they were supposed to double-check the order when he returned. But Oikawa went ahead and...
She processed everything on her own out of spite, leading to that order mistake. Despite Akane's warnings, Oikawa ignored her, which ultimately caused a mistake in the order.
I told you several times that Suzaki-san was innocent, but you never listened. All you did was accuse me of being jealous of Oikawa's cuteness.
That's not true. I conducted a thorough investigation.
Yeah! This is all a lie!
It's not a lie. Here's the proof.
Akane took out a voice recorder from her bag. Apparently, after Oikawa started harassing her following my departure, she began recording things just in case.
You're ruining my chance to get rid of Suzaki, you idiot! Why'd you go and mess it all up? Anyway, it doesn't matter what you say to the manager. That creepy old man's so obsessed with me, he barely investigates anything. You still want to keep working here, don't you? Then shut up, you ugly cow!
From the recorder came Oikawa's crude voice, revealing the truth behind her actions. Akane had recorded Oikawa's verbal abuse, but felt it would be covered up, so she left the company. Now, that evidence was being put to use. We cannot continue doing business with a company where an employee like Oikawa can act so selfishly. That's her final decision.
You've got to be kidding me, you little...
Just as Oikawa tried to grab Akane, "What's this about, Oikawa? You said I was handsome and charming!" Megumi froze in place, as if paralyzed by the manager's words. "You told me Maruyama was just a financial convenience, and I was the one you really loved. As your lover, I believed everything you said." Huh? Megu, what's going on? Explain yourself!
Well, that's...
Maruyama and the manager pressed her for an explanation. Realizing the situation had turned against her, Megumi finally dropped her act.
Oh, please! You two are worthless without your authority and money. Did you really think I was serious? There's no way I'd fall for either of you. You should be grateful I even bothered to spend my precious time on you. Instead of blaming me, you should be thanking me.
I agree that these two aren't much, but you know better, Oikawa. You've wasted your time trying to manipulate people instead of actually achieving anything. The world doesn't revolve around people like you, who rely on others to get by.
What are you?
Unable to respond, Oikawa quickly left the room in a huff. Suzaki, I'm sorry. We were fooled by that woman. We were shallow. We apologize. Could you put in a good word with Takachi for us?
What would be the point of that apology? Whether it's for business or your conscience, I don't care. But stop this pathetic display. Suzaki-san has been working at our company for nearly a year now, and I can vouch for his integrity. He worked at your company for much longer, yet you couldn't see through Oikawa's lies. Even if you were fooled, you still treated him terribly. Do you really think a simple apology will fix that?
She's right. I won't be putting in any favors with X-Force. If you really feel sorry, don't ever show your faces in front of me again. I'm not strong enough to forgive the trauma you caused me so easily. Unable to respond, Maruyama and the manager left the room with their heads hung low. Thank you, everyone. I feel like a weight has finally been lifted. Well, consider it a little gift of happiness then.
It's time.
The female staff called for the bride and groom, and we all headed back to the reception. It was a grand and joyful affair. Afterward, Oikawa was disciplined and eventually laid off due to the company's worsening performance. It seemed she continued to manipulate various men, but
There's no way I can pay this much.
she had engaged in affairs with several married men and ended up being sued for hefty damages. She tried asking other men for help, but they all refused her. Labeled as a troublemaker, she was left to fend for herself, working desperately to make ends meet. At Oroka House, the manager was forced to resign for repeatedly protecting Oikawa and failing to oversee his team. Mariyama worked hard, but with X-Force pulling out, the company's reputation plummeted, making recovery nearly impossible. Rumor has it Mariyama's family heard about Oikawa's behavior, leaving him feel ashamed at home as well. He probably regrets ever falling for her schemes. As for me, my relationship with Natsumi was growing steadily, and soon... Natsumi-san, you've saved me so many times. At work, at the wedding when you stood up for me. I want to be with you, supporting each other. Will you go out with me?
I've liked you for a long time too. Let's keep taking care of each other.
Having someone who believes in you and stands by your side, it gives you strength and courage to protect what matters the most. I vow to never forget the gratitude I felt for this love, and to always live with sincerity from now on.